Hi everyone, welcome back to yet another episode of Agri-tech Topic Show. Today we have here with us Mr. Guru Vignesh, and he has his own company which is into post-harvest management. And we have been in the talks for the past few weeks about having him on the show, and he obliged, which is immensely glad for us. And he's going to talk about how an entrepreneur can be in the agri industry, which is the backbone of India, and which is not yet concentrated enough in terms of how Indian companies are working. So I'll just give the stage to Mr. Guru Vignesh. Guru Vignesh, thank you for having coming here on the show.
Thank you, Rajagopal. Thank you. Just a minute.
Okay. Yeah. So you can start your presentation. You can give a brief about yourself and your company, and you can start the presentation right now. And
yeah,
I'll go mute. If there's anything you want, you can just say that. I'll be on.
Yeah, sure, definitely.
Thank you. Thank you. You can carry on.
Thank you. Yeah. So hello everyone, I am Guru Vignesh. So our startup name is Impensus Electronics. First of all, I'd like to thank Rajagopal, Reach Skyline team, Ram Kesavan. So all of you to thank everyone to giving us this opportunity. Just a minute. Yeah. So for giving me this opportunity to talk about my company today and also about agri-tech industry. I hope my screen is visible. Rajagopal, can you see my screen?
It's loading, Guru Vignesh. One second. Yeah, it's visible. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. So I don't want to waste much time. I'll just get started to it. So as Rajagopal also mentioned, we are in a sector called post-harvest management. Maybe in the later slides, I'll explain you what post-harvest management actually is. So as I mentioned before, Impensus Electronics, our tagline says, no, we are not an usual cold chain expert. So we work in an area where food is being stored, food is being transported, everything. I'll just talk about it. And my colleague name is Dinesh Narayanan. So we both are the co-founders of Impensus Electronics. Just a minute. Yeah. So let me get started. So this is the agenda for the presentation today. So I'll just start talking about our journey till now, from the day we started, then horticulture in India. So horticulture is a subsector of agriculture. I'll explain you what it is. Then problems in horticulture and approaches to solve it. Then comes farm to fork model, and finally, conventional way is this Impensus way of solving these problems. And finally, I will end with impact and summary. So talking about our journey, we started this company. We registered this company in October 2017. If you can see that picture, that is my house in Madurai. Still our company is registered in this address only. So this is our first floor. This was our office till we shifted to Chennai. And it is very much, very much a fortune, or I would say I'm very much fortunate to have such a great partner here with me. Mr. Dinesh is actually my college mate during my UG, where I did it in Kanchipuram from 2009 to 2013. He was my roommate for 3 years, and he has a very vast experience in this post-harvest sector, warehouse automation and other automation stuff for about nearly 6 years. And he also loves to build network. People usually say network is the new net worth, they say. So with that network, we just got our first export order. So it was in April 2018. We were very, very new to this, doing export orders and other stuff. There are many things like GST registration, to import-export codes, to getting certificate from Chamber of Commerce for certificate of origin, then customs. There are a head lot of things, but we were completely unaware about all these things when we started this. This project was just as a sort of like a trade, where there wasn't much of a contribution from our company. We just helped a company in Egypt to have a product that we recommended from a company here in India. So this project actually helped us to look at the initial challenges that companies face during this time, because as in, I am the first generation entrepreneur, and so is Dinesh Narayanan. So we both doesn't have an experience of running any company. We don't have any of our immediate family or friends to give us that support. So we made our feet wet to know all these things from scratch. So it started there. Then in February 2019, some magic happened. So I was doing my MBA then in Tyagaraja School of Management, Madurai. So I finished. I was in the batch of 2007 to 2019. In 2019, there's an event called eNentra conducted by EDII. EDII is Entrepreneurship Development and Innovation Council of Tamil Nadu and Anna University. They both joined and conducted an event called eNentra for startups. We participated there, we pitched our idea there, and we ended up getting the most scalable startup award at the end of that event. So they also gave us a cash prize of about 1.5 lakhs, which actually helped us very much in these initial stages. Then I finished my MBA in April 2019. We were looking for the opportunities to build our business more. And somehow, we just got a second export order. This time it was in the Middle East, Qatar. So this order, it was a serious challenge because it actually put all our skills into test. This was unlike first export order. We need to do a hell lot of things to this export order to get it executed successfully. So we learned really a lot. The things that seemed very obvious for us initially was very, very difficult at the end. Um, we didn't thought of about packaging these things. We just prepared all the hardware, we just tested it, everything was working fine. Then one fine day we just want to ship it. For shipping it, I was just going and finding this cardboard boxes. We didn't find any cardboard boxes that can actually fit this system. Just because of that, it got delayed for 3 days. We didn't thought it will be a big problem, but it actually caused us a lot of trouble. Then in October 2019, this happened, and I'm very much fortunate to have many good people around me who talk many positive things. Maybe there are some people who might, discourage or doesn't go in your way, but we just need to ignore them. There are many positive people. Like one such person is Mr. Ravichandran Purushothaman, who is the president of Danforce India. He has been mentoring us from the day one till now, and he's like very much gracious to give his advice whenever we are in a trouble. He also helps us to build our network, to give suggestions on how we can make our projects and everything. So when we had a problem of we were thinking about shifting our company from Madurai base to somewhere to a city, so we thought of moving to Coimbatore. Then we thought Chennai, but Chennai was financially, we were not ready to move to Chennai. Then we just met our mentor. So we just went there and asked him, so what we can do. He actually suggested CIIC. CIIC is the Crescent Innovation and Incubation Council. I think Rescale is having a session tomorrow with CIIC CEO, Mr. Parvez Alam. So we are at CIIC. We are incubated as a startup here. So it's been nearly more than 7-8 months now. And this place, we have got an office space here, and also we have increased our visibility very much after joining CIIC. Then finally, into February 2020, I think a month before this Corona thing started, so we were selected as one of the top 10 startups in India that contributes to UN Sustainable Development Goals. This actually happened in Delhi and by United Nations Development Program. More than 400 startups participated. We ended up doing the top 10 startups. Okay, this is our journey. I'll just get into the actual topic. No, we didn't get into this agriculture sector by accident. So before talking about horticulture, I'll tell you the importance of agriculture. Still, agriculture contributes to nearly 20% of our GDP. I know the contribution of service sector has increased drastically, but still agriculture is contributing about 20%. If you look at budget allocation, there's always a huge chunk of budget has been allocated for agriculture alone. But this time, I think because of this Corona crisis and all these contingency plans that government is having, I guess they might touch a little bit of this agriculture budget allocated for agriculture. Not sure about those, but we just got some inside information on that. Then talking about the effects during crisis scenario, I think this is the high time for all of us to know the importance of agriculture. How many of you went there and stood in queues for like hours to get fruits and vegetables or rice, wheat, whatever it is? So this is such a great important thing in our life, food, especially fruits and vegetables. So the demand for this is not going to get down at any time, even in this crisis scenario. Then finally, talking about number of startups working to solve agriculture related problems. If you look, there are nearly like hundreds of startups coming up every year only in this agri-tech sector. If you just ask me, I can easily tell you like nearly 10 to 15 companies that work only in this post-harvest sector. So these are the things about agriculture. I'll tell you what horticulture is. If people doesn't know what is horticulture, horticulture is cultivation of fruits, vegetables, flowers, plantation crops, and spices. So these things are segregated as horticulture. So leaving rice, paddy, wheat, all these things. So if we talk about fruits, vegetables, flowers, plantation crops, these things are horticulture. So government of India acknowledged this horticulture as a separate sector only in 1980s. Now, before 1980s, horticulture was a sub part of agriculture, and once this segregation happened, segregating horticulture as a separate sector, the growth of horticulture has been drastic in India. Today, India is the second largest producer of fruits and vegetables in the whole world. And if we see the complete agriculture output, 33% of the agriculture output is only from horticulture. Just look at the graph here. We are nearly producing 98 tons of fruits, about 185 tons of vegetables, which adds up to nearly 320 million tons. This is 320 million. These are not these are not a 98 or 185 tons. It's 98 million and 185 million tons. It totally adds up to 312 million tons, which is a huge amount of horticulture products that we are manufacturing, that gets produced in India. And if you look at the major players, Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal, Madhya Pradesh are the largest producers of fruits and vegetables, especially vegetables like potatoes or onions. So these guys plays a key role in that. So as I said, these are all the horticulture, the things that comes under horticulture. So if I just segregate this horticulture, if I just go dig deeper, spices contributes about 2.6%, plantation crops contributes about 5.8%, flowers about 1.2%, fruits contributes about 31.2%, and vegetables about nearly 60%. So only fruits and vegetables contributes nearly 90% of this complete horticulture sector. So I think we can able to easily see the problem here. If we talk about spices is not something that gets spoiled easily, and so are plantation crops and flowers. Whereas fruits and vegetables get spoiled easily if you are not keeping it in the right place. So we all know we use fridge to save these fruits and vegetables from rotting. So if we talk about fruits and vegetables, the action that we need to take to preserve these fruits and vegetables is huge. So if we talk about the waste that happens before these fruits and vegetables comes into your plate, that means once harvest is done, there are a hell lot of things happening in the middle. Before it reaches your plate, you are storing it in your fridge. So till that stage, if there is any loss, any kind of loss like fruits, vegetables spoilage, or extra rotting, or getting affected by any bacteria, fungus thing, all these losses are classified as post-harvest losses. So post-harvest losses, if I talk about post-harvest losses, I would like to tell you about what is happening right now in India and also in other parts of the world. The main reason for this post-harvest losses is urbanization. So if I talk about urbanization, there are millions of people are getting migrated from villages to cities, to find a better job. Maybe this corona issue actually showed us, how many migrant laborers are there in cities. They just want to move back because they are not getting salaries here. But once everything, gets stable again, they just need to come back to city to get, for making money. So if we look at the transition from the people moving from a village to a city or getting migrated to cities, the distance between the production of agriculture goods and the consumption base is increasing. Most of the agriculture things are not getting produced in cities. They are in the outskirts of the cities. So unlike the old days, during some nearly 30, 40 years back, the fruits and vegetables that is harvested today morning will reach your plate by today afternoon. But it is not the case today, because since the distance between the production of fruits and vegetables and the consumption is more, so the fruits that were being harvested 2 days back or even a week back or sometimes even a month back will reach your plate today. So that is how the changes has been happened till now. And if I just give you statistics, globally 1.3 billion metric tons, which is very, very huge, of this food being wasted before human consumption. So before it reaches your plate, we are nearly wasting 30% of the global food production, especially fruits and vegetables. And if we look at India, the monetary value of post-harvest losses alone is about 92,651 crores. Now, if you just do a math, I can tell you with this 92,651 crores, we can able to feed 5 crore people for all 365 days. So there is the amount of losses that we are making only in this area. And United Nations says that by 2050, we need 90% more food than what we have today, which means nearly we need to double the food production of what we are having now by 2050. But what we think, if we reduce these losses, we can able to, help by to achieve this goal by 2050, because nearly 30%, as I said, is being wasted. If we can able to reduce this losses drastically, it will be very much helpful for us in the future. So talking about post-harvest value chain, I'm going to differentiate it in 3 parts. First is farmer capacity, then infrastructure, then market. So what I'm going to talk about is only going to be about fruits and vegetables. So our company is focused mainly on fruits and vegetables. And talking about the farmer capacity, at the farmer end, farmers are facing many problems. Well, no, everyone says that farmers are there are quite a group of people who say farmers are getting more income. There are some other group of people who say farmers are not getting any income. They are the poorest, group of people in India. So that is like that is something that we need to debate in a separate forum. But the thing is, if I look at the farmer side of fruits and vegetables, the main problem is the information that farmers get are not actually accurate. There is a huge mismatch between the demand and the supply. What we demand at the consumption end is actually less, or sometimes more. It is actually less mostly, whereas the farmer produces more, which he can't sell because there is no demand in the consumption side. So he ends up losing all these produce. So he just waste it or just throws it away. Talking about the infrastructure, which is the middle part of the production base, the consumption center. This infrastructure is about transport of fruits and vegetables, storage of fruits and vegetables. I'll talk about that in detail in the next slide. So talking about the market is just about our vegetable market or our supermarkets where we buy fruits and vegetables. So how to solve these problems? So these are the approaches that we have to solve this problem. As I mentioned, I've segregated it in 3 ways. So if you just look at these 4 points, supermarket and retail store level is the market segment. Cold storage and the logistics level is in the infrastructure segment. Then farmer level obviously is in the farmer segment. So the food that gets wasted in the supermarkets, supermarkets or daily gets stocked up with all the fruits and vegetables that we want. We go there, we buy some, but there are some fruits and vegetables which left there at the end of the day. Sometimes it gets, they just stock it up again tomorrow, the day after, or sometimes, they just have it for 2 to 3 days. Once it started rotting, they'll just throw it up. So that is one sort of a waste. Then the next level is cold storage. Let's talk about storage. So if you look at storage, there are many fruits and vegetables that get stored before going to the distribution system. Sorry, before going to the distribution of to the markets. So just to give you some facts, there are apples that can be stored for nearly 1 year, and we can able to have the same quality of apple after 1 year at the consumption end. Which means if I'm just having a cold storage, there is something called controlled atmosphere system. So if I just have a controlled atmosphere system cold storage, I can store apple for nearly 6 to 8 months. I can store it at my place, and whenever there is a demand in the market, I can release according to the demand. That actually gives me more profit than what I do normally without storing and selling it without knowing the demand. So that is one part. Logistics. If you look at NCCD is one of the governing body in India, which is the National Cold Chain Development Department. They say we have an 85% gap in not using reefer vehicles. Reefer vehicles are the vehicles that comes with temperature control. You might have seen vehicles that transport dairy products or ice creams, they just have a refrigeration system attached in their vehicle. So that is called reefer vehicle. Normally, fruits and vegetables are recommended to move from one place to another in the reefer vehicles, whereas in India we don't use that. So there are wastage at that level. And talking about the farmers level, which is one of the favorite approach for our company. So just look at the pie chart. 62% of the farmers have less than 1 hectare of land and 19% have less than 2 hectare. So nearly 80% of the farmers are having less than 2 hectares of land in India. So these majority group doesn't have a storage solution or doesn't own a storage solution themselves because they already have a very less land. So the margin that they are going to get from the fruits and vegetables they produce are going to be less. So this is the main sector that we need to give solutions for. We just need to give an affordable and most economical solution for them so that it can help farmers in these groups to store fruits and vegetables so that they themselves can store and release it to the market whenever it is demanded. And so this is the farm to fork model. I'll just quickly get you through this and I'll explain you how our company plays an important role in this sector. So farm to fork, I think as the words explain it, it is from the production base to the consumption center, from the field to the time it reaches your plate. So these are all the process that happens. This is cold chain flow. Why it is cold chain, I will tell you in the next slide. So farm gate is the place that comes immediately after the harvest is done. So at that place, we just pre-cool the vegetables. There are a lot of things happening from the farm to the fork, and these are all the processes I said. There is a thing called pre-cooling. There is something called sorting, grading. Everything happens at a farm gate. So once the fruits and vegetables are sorted, graded, and pre-cooled, they just move into a transport, preferably reefer trucks, to markets or any storage spaces that it needs to be moved. So the storage space is mostly cold storage. That is the highly recommended cold storage for highly recommended storage systems for fruits and vegetables. From the storage, the fruits and vegetables moves to again transport. Again, we just need to reefer trucks because this storage is before distribution system. So once foods are being stored and there's demand in the market, so we need to distribute these fruits and vegetables to the end customers through retail markets or supermarkets through the transport. So these are the actual chain of what is happening in between from the farm to the fork when I talk about fruits and vegetables. So just like human beings, fruits and vegetables also respire even after the harvest. Yeah, so they just take in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide. I'll tell you why it is important for to talk about temperature and humidity control. Whenever I say, we store fruits and vegetables inside a fridge. So why we are doing that? I'll just give you with a simple example. Just remember those days, or even it is still happening. Sadhus do meditation for hours, in Himalayas or some other places, some other cold places especially, they do meditation of hours without taking food or even drinking water. So how it is actually happening? Initially, sadhus tried it at their own place. Then they realized they can't, sustain in this stage for a larger time. So they just went to places like the top of Himalayas or any other cooler places, because when the place is cool, when your body temperature is very cool, the biological process happens inside your bodies started to decrease, which means the respiration rate that you have, that you normally have, it will be decreased at a cooler area, and also your blood circulation and other stuff. So when a sadhu can go and do meditation in Himalayas, he can stay meditated for a larger time comparing to any other place which is hotter than Himalayas. So that is a simple logic. So they just don't boil their biological process. They just don't waste their energy in any other biological process, so that they can able to concentrate or focus there more. Just exactly, this is what we are trying to do with fruits and vegetables. So with fruits and vegetables, we control temperature as well as humidity so that fruits don't respire much, so that fruits can stay at that place for a larger amount of time without needing of any nutrients. So that is the concept. That is why we just need to store fruits and vegetables in the fridge. So this is the conventional way. If you just go and talk about any of the cold chain expert who just wants to store these fruits and vegetables, the solution they give is they simply tell you you just need to maintain and humidity at this level. So this is the normal, this is the normal approach any of the conventional cold chain expert will give you. But whereas we just go a step ahead and we just talk about biological process happens inside fruits and vegetables. Just exactly, you just think in a different scenario. You are sitting, okay, like consider a car like Swift, Maruti Swift, and there are 6 of your friends are traveling in that. So only 5 can sit, but you have somehow adjusted. Your 6 members are there, and you have shut down all the windows and AC is on. You are just moving there. If it's a long drive, definitely once in a while you will open the window to get some fresh air, because the carbon dioxide that you emit out will actually makes you suffocate after some time. So you just want a fresh air once in a while, which means if you just keep fruits and vegetables in a fridge or any other cold storage which controls only temperature and humidity, there might be an issue like it might run out of oxygen after some time, or it might emit some other gases that is not good for the fruits. For example, if we talk about apples, apples respire. So when apples take in carbon dioxide and releases CO2, it doesn't release only CO2, it releases something called C2H4, which is ethylene. If you just talk about ethylene, ethylene is a natural ripening agent. If we just talk about how bananas are getting ripened, if you think about the banana tree, the banana leaves actually emits ethylene once in a while. Those ethylene will just get touched by these bananas, and banana starts ripening. So ethylene is something that triggers the ripening in any of the fruits and any of the vegetables. So if I just store apple for a larger time, apple starts emitting ethylene. That ethylene will kill the apple itself because it starts rotting soon. Then the next problem is bacteria and virus. So these bacteria and virus we need to control. If we are not controlling these things, definitely it will kill the fruits and vegetables. So if we just look at completely, what Impensus do is we control temperature and humidity, which is the basic thing, and we also control biological process such as oxygen, carbon dioxide, and ethylene, and also bacteria and virus. So if I control all these things, I can actually increase the shelf life of fruits and vegetables for nearly 1.5 to 2 times without degrading its quality. We are not adding any of the chemicals in this process, and we are not injecting any kind of vaccines or anything to increase its shelf life. This is just a natural process. What we are doing is we are controlling its biological activities by removing certain gases like CO2 and ethylene. So this is how we do it. We have a sensor system. So think about the center box is the cold storage. So our sensor senses the amount of oxygen, amount of ethylene, and amount of carbon dioxide, the temperature, ethylene, everything. It just senses and gives it to the controller, which goes inside the cold storage. If the CO2 is more, we take out CO2 using CO2 scrubbers. If ethylene is more, we take out ethylene using ethylene scrubbers. So similarly, if you want more CO2, more O2, we just inject fresh air, which actually helps to increase the O2 content inside. And also we use special filters that actually kills bacteria. So with this system, we can able to control all these parameters, and also we can able to increase the shelf life without degrading its quality. So there is these are, if you just look at the application areas, we have fruits and vegetable storage systems. It is in normal standard systems. When it comes to apples, potatoes, onions, we just need to customize it because these fruits and vegetables need a different approach of storing it. As I mentioned about how apple, reacts when it is stored. Similarly, if I talk about potato emits a lot of CO2. Now, when the CO2 content gets more in that potato storage, we just need to take the CO2 out for the potato to, to be in the right condition. So we use CO2 scrubbers to take out all the CO2 inside a potato storage. Whereas if I talk about onions, have you ever wondered, we don't store onions inside a fridge, because onions, the temperature at which onions needs to be stored is little higher, and at the same time, we just need to, the humidity that needs for the onion is also very less. We need about 70 to 75% of the humidity for to store the onion. So for that, we have dehumidifiers. Now, if the humidity is about 80 or 85%, we start using dehumidifiers that actually reduces the humidity level in the atmosphere, so that it just helps to store onions for a larger amount of time. Talking about ripening systems, we automate ripening systems also. For example, we have ripening systems for bananas and mangoes. So what we do is like, we have an ethylene sensor. We just sense how much ethylene is there inside. We just inject ethylene at the correct interval so that it gets ripened at the correct time with the correct color and the correct nutrients. Then logistics. So these systems are in, we can customize the system for different sizes. So that is one of the biggest advantage of our systems. So what we need is a smaller systems that can actually control CO2 and ethylene level inside a reefer vehicle. If there is a reefer vehicle, other than temperature control, we just give a small device that can actually help to control CO2 and as well as ethylene inside. So these are all the solutions, different segments. If we talk about cold storage, there is something called CA systems, palletized storage systems, ripening systems. So I recommend you to see our YouTube channel. If you just go and search Impensus Electronics, we actually did a YouTube series on this. We just talk about what is CA systems, what is palletized storage systems, and each stage of these cold chain. What happens in the farm gate end, what happens in the front end, what happens in the reefer vehicle. So how a reefer vehicle has to be. So what all things needs to be taken care when you are storing fruits. So all these things. Then talking about the supermarkets level, ambient storage system. Supermarkets storage system is little different than what is there in the storage, a cold storage level. And talking about logistics, we have reefer tracking system and transport storage system. Transport storage system is the one I just said before. We have a smaller devices that are able to control CO2 as well as ethylene. Then reefer tracking systems actually helps you to give data like like GPS, temperature and humidity at each and every point where the truck is being traveled. And this is one of our dream project. We are working on this right now. So this is a farm gate storage solution, which is a very, very small storage space, like 10 to 20 metric tons. So whenever we talk about storage or cold rooms in India, it is normally about 500 or 700 or even 1,000 metric tons. There are even 10,000 metric tons of cold storage is there. Whereas we just want to make a better, efficient, and more affordable cold storages that can be used by a cluster of farmers. We are planning to form a cluster of farmers, who has an land of less than 2 hectares, so that they all can fund and they all can share a single cold room, which is about 10 to 20 tons, which will not cost them more than about 4 to 5 lakhs. So at this space cold room, we can able to control temperature, humidity, CO2, ethylene, and pathogens, as I mentioned before. This doesn't need any specialized infrastructure. We can able to store fruits and vegetables for about 3 to 4 weeks. So this is one of our dream project. I hope we will able to finish this soon before this year. And these are all the impacts. If we store fruits and vegetables, at the right level, so we have a better storage and management of food after harvest. This helps in increased revenue. Government talks about doubling farmers' income by 2025. So these are the kind of things that they need to consider, to at least increase the farmers' income. Then talking about the price stability, as I said, we can store food whenever there is no demand, and we can release it whenever there is demand. This actually helps to have a price stability and also gives more profit to the farmers or any distributors who are doing this. And talking about affordability and availability to all state of the society, as I mentioned before, even our dream project, we just need to provide an affordable and available solutions to all state of the society. That is to the supermarket level, to the storage level, to the transport level, and of course to the farmer level. If we can able to do all these things, we can drastically reduce the post-harvest losses from 30% to at least 10%. So by working on these things, we served two of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. One is zero hunger, and another is responsible consumption production. So these are some of the photos of our sensors and controllers. You could see the integrated sensor model. That single sensor model can able to monitor CO2, temperature, humidity, oxygen level, everything. That automation control just below that actually controls all these parameters by taking data from the sensors. So these are all the different products. So you can just follow us in Facebook, Instagram, and Impensus, as I mentioned before. We are just doing a series in the post-harvest management sector. So which will help you to understand better about our company and what companies in this sector are actually trying to achieve. So that is it. If you have any questions, I would like to answer that.
Thank you, Guru Vignesh. It was really wonderful learning a lot about post-harvest management and how we can potentially be a part in where food reduction, food wastage can be actually controlled. And I think our 40-minute free presentation is going to end now. I thought we would come for 30 minutes and we have a presentation for the last 10 minutes. But I think to rush this up, if anybody wants to connect with Guru Vignesh, you can reach out to me. I'll give you his contact and you can connect with him on LinkedIn. I don't want this meeting to end abruptly, so I just want to conclude. Thank you so much for coming here, Guru Vignesh. I think we had a lot of fun.
Hello?
So thank you so much. We'll see you again in another video. Until then, this is Guru Vignesh and Team Agri-tech signing off. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.